perfect.
Is there... There's not time to turn it into a meme, is there?
No, not right now, but...
But you could drag it into Photoshop and be like, Vox, no gun regulation is safe. Your terms are acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, it would probably take me too long to make that happen before the show starts, but I'm going to go ahead and hit the button.
7:30.
Yeah.
Born ready, man.
Yeah, okay, and we have just confirmed that no, in fact, I cannot convert that meme in the space of time that it takes for the, at least for the Firearms Friday one to run. Good morning!
Yes, it is in fact a good morning, and I see a new name in the live chat that I've never seen before, and I get the feeling with a name like Fishing, Golf, and Guns, that's our people.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, like, whatever his thought is on something, we're going to agree about 90% of the time.
I'll be fair. I have enjoyed golf on occasion, but I do not golf often.
Apparently, we're missing out.
Apparently, His Majesty is enjoying the last piece of pound cake.
Apparently, we're really missing out with the golf thing. Like, if you want to play a sport where you're encouraged to smoke cigars and pretty girls will sell you beer as you...
Oh, I'm aware.
I mean, like, I've never played golf, and every time somebody's like, Cam,
okay,
you're missing out.
Okay.
No, don't give me a golf story. We got more important things.
We can get you there. I've been to Pebble Beach. I've been to Hickam Airfield. I've played golf on some... I haven't played Pebble Beach. I went and watched a tournament at Pebble Beach with Sergeant Major and Uncle Bobo. But I have played Hickam, and I've played and I've seen golf on some beautiful courses. And yes, golf is a good time. And there's Danny. Danny, I'm so glad you're here with us this morning. I was heartbroken and elated at the beginning of y'all's show last night because I just had to console myself with having scooped the TPS report on the Uvalde revelations yesterday, since they got to scoop us last night on the Supreme Court decision that we're about to talk about. And it really is just a matter of timing. The court decision came out between our show and theirs. They got to talk about it last night. We had to wait till this... Well, we didn't have to, but we did wait till this morning because it's Firearms Friday. And that's what we do.
Look, headphone users. Headphone users, dude.
I'm sorry. Be better. Anyway,
moving
forward.
I learned something yesterday. You know what I learned yesterday?
Should I guess, or are you going to tell me?
I'll just tell you. Turns out yesterday was Clarence Thomas's birthday.
Happy birthday, CT!
Yes.
Oh, he's all the way over here. I had to go scrolling across the monitors to get it. And you know what? I'm going to throw Clarence Thomas one of these.
Tech, here, tech. This where no more homo erotic rocket ranches. Got it? Got it. Oh, jeez. So much wang.
And, okay, I don't know what's going on with the stutter at the beginning of the clips lately. That's something I'm just going to have to dig in. Maul, I did see it, but we've got SCOTUS stuff to deal with this morning, so we're not going to get to that, we're not going to be doing any DGUs this morning.
Speaking of SCOTUS stuff, if a certain thing happens with SCOTUS today, we're planning on being back at 9 o'clock tonight to, frankly, to probably drink scotch and mine liberal salt. I like my scotch with a splash of liberal tears.
Yeah, me too.
You enjoy soda water. I want liberal tears. Thank you.
We need a salt mindset. That wouldn't be that hard to do.
Listen, no, we don't need anything until you bring a fucking coffee pot down here. Coffee first. Yes. Then we have to tend to the coffee pot. But you know what could happen right now? I happen to notice in our excitement we both drank a lot of our coffee.
We have.
I could just turn around and get a pot and fill it up. But I can't. Because it's somewhere else. Anyhow, obviously.
Speaking of loaded.
Yes. And just all the... Well, all right, let's get to it. The Supreme Court...
and, you know, it's hard to pick an article here. I wanted to have one that was pretty middle of the road, just kind of reporting the facts. This one, the trace law section, I think is the closest I could get to.
You know why that is? Seriously? Because middle of the road, just the facts on this, is inherently the right-wing position. Like, the Second Amendment,
right. Well,
no matter what you liberal psychopaths say, the Second Amendment is clear. It really is.
Right.
The militia is everybody about 16 years old and up. You lying shitburgers. So when it says the well-regulated militia being necessary, they mean basically everybody strong enough to hold a rifle.
And, okay, and since you mentioned it, the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary. I know English isn't the first language of most Americans anymore. Your first language is now emojis. But a preparatory cause gives reason. It states that because X, Y, or Z is true, for those reasons, then we are stating A. Because it is necessary in order to have a free people that is not beholden to a tyrannical government or vulnerable to a dangerous external invading army, like, for example, a caravan coming up from South America.
Just one example. I don't know why that's
because
relevant.
it is necessary for those people, in order for those people to remain free and safe, they must be able to form militias. And since they must be able to form militias in order to be free and safe, you, government, shall not be allowed to create any law which is adjacent, infringes any law which in any way inhibits the ability of a free man to own a firearm and carry it freely, so that he and his people may form militias for the purpose of retaining their freedom against possible tyrannical government or external influences. This isn't complicated. I had to stretch it out into all those extra words to clarify for a world that thinks that the preparatory clause is the same thing as the statement. It is absolutely not.
So just real quick, I'm going to address the fact that the chat is giving me a hard time about the coffee. Folks, I need you to understand.
I think Steve calls you fat.
I mean, I did put on weight after I quit smoking cigarettes. It happened. So, look, you guys need to understand, Chris said no to the coffee pot. This is not Cameron is worthless. This is a thing. This is a thing that Chris and Cameron have disagreed on. Okay? All right. So let's just nutshell it, okay?
SCOTUS has, this is the nutshell. SCOTUS says people have a right to carry guns in public.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I was gonna get there. I was gonna say basically that your shall issue permit states are bullshit, and
yes,
yeah, bye. You could actually now carry a gun in New Jersey.
So,
like, who'd have thunk?
Not quite.
Yes, not quite.
Right.
Come on.
Right. Well, and I want to caveat that because, so here's what this ruling does. The Supreme Court has now effectively recognized that there are in this country what they call may issue states. A state where there is an onus, an unnecessary, undue burden, abortion lovers, that's placed on a person before they can acquire a firearm within the confines of the law of that state. And effectively, the may issue states are shall not issue. They will refuse you, basically unless you're rich and influential enough to get the sheriff to personally say, this guy needs a gun.
The mayor or the governor
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
So basically, if in order to practice your constitutional right, unless you could prove that somebody is stalking you and threatening to kill you.
Yeah, if you effectively, unless you know somebody important and have already been so unfortunate as to have to narrowly evade precisely the sort of situation for which you should have had a firearm to defend yourself, you cannot have a firearm to defend yourself. And here's what I want you to understand about these states. It is not that these states have bad law. It is that these states are criminals. The individual states are criminals. The having of those laws is a violation of the law. That's what the Supreme Court has determined here, is that these states, these rogue states, are acting in stark violation of the Constitution. What they're doing by denying rights to citizens is they are committing crimes by breaking laws, because the Constitution is the law. And the Constitution says very clearly, you will not make a law that deprives a free man of his right to keep and bear arms.
Well, it's not the right to keep and bear arms. Like, never forget that the Second Amendment is not, I mean, yes, it's the right to own a gun, but what it really is the right to defend your life and the lives of the people you care about. That's what the Second Amendment really is. No tyrannical force is allowed to molest you without contest. That is what the spirit of the Second Amendment is. So yeah, keep your guns, but understand that the reason why you're allowed to keep your guns is they're the highest level of self-defense technology available. If the best we've done is crossbows, the Second Amendment would say the right to keep a crossbow shall not be infringed.
I agree with the spirit of your statement. I want to give you just a little bit of pushback on that last bit, the crossbows bit, and this is more for the audience than for you, because part of the ruling from Heller is that the language of the Second Amendment, the use of the language, the right to keep and bear arms, right? It doesn't say firearms. It doesn't say the right to keep and bear a gun. It says the right to keep and bear arms. because part of the conversation around the construction of that amendment was, look, it is potentially the case that in the future there will be weapons which are not the same thing as firearms. And it cannot be the case that the government has those weapons and the people are barred from having them. That's why the word arms is used there. That does refer to the carry of a sword, an axe, or a tow missile. Arms.
What's that you got there? This is my battle axe. Okay. And look, here's the thing about it. I didn't think the discussion was going to go this direction, but like in the big cities in England, they're now talking about knife control.
Yes,
right? Like
they have been since Obama.
For like 5 or 6 years now. Yeah. Your knife can't be longer than 4 inches. It's like, that's one of those things that was a meme.
They have anonymous drop boxes in London for people to surrender their knives, and people do. And they've talked about they've talked about doing things like, okay, if you want to own cooking knives and carry them about in a case because you're a professional chef, that has to be licensed. Like, what? What? LT Adam Bob says the 2A is my permit. In fairness, what the 2A really says is my 357 Magnum is my permit.
Habeas corpus says, if only there were essays the framers wrote explaining the Bill of Rights, and he is of course referring to the Federalist Papers
and the Anti-Federalist Papers.
Well, look, they're all there, and they're all worth reading because the thoughts that these men had at the time as they drafted this. Molyneux made the point, and I'd never heard anybody put it this way, and it's brilliant. It's that the thing that makes America different is it's the only country that was ever founded in philosophy first.
Right.
Every other country was founded in religion or right of divine succession or conquest or whatever. But America is the only country who was incepted in philosophy. And that philosophy was, how do we give the common man the most freedom possible? And, well, the founders correctly identified that the ability to pack heat is important to that. We're going
real quick. TPS. That's Alex. Alex McDonald says they've had knife laws forever back home. I appreciate you chiming in on that
now,
because
Alex. That's why you moved here.
But I mean, we appreciate your firsthand experience because Alex is a dirty limey from across the pond, so he's been there and suffered under the grotesque regime of that original thing.
Way too many vowels in their words. Like, what the hell? The Queen's English, because she's the only one who can spell it?
And Alex was talking about the difference between conservatism in the UK and here on his show a couple weeks ago, and I pointed out in the comments, and we agree on this, but we haven't had a deep conversation about it, and I'd like to do that on air sometime, Alex. There's a huge difference between what it means to be a conservative in America and what it means to be a conservative in the UK. You are both conservative of a tradition, but in the two different cases, you are conservative to very different traditions. The Conservative Party of Great Britain, to some extent, will remain conservative of a monarchy, while the conservative movement in America, in theory, is supposed to be conservative of the document which threw off the shackle of that monarchy. There is a lot of room for common ground and crossover between those two sets because they are both sets of tradition and both traditions have some commonalities, but there are some dramatic differences between them, not least of which is the right of the people to keep and bear arms. So your mom says, and Cain slew Abel with a rock, and you know what's really funny? That's also what David slew Goliath with. It is. Just saying. And a sling. I mean, obviously, if I understand the story correctly, Cain walked up and straight beat a dude. But, okay. I feel like you're deliberately... No. David the sling. It happened later. Yeah. He used the sling. It happened later. Oh, so you mean he killed him at a range? Yeah.
So
he got smarter. We got smarter and smarter and smarter and figured out, oh, hey, wait a minute.
Wait, so the giant
I can kill that asshole from all the way over here.
That giant asshole that could break me with his hands. I could stand here.
Exactly. I can stand over here because, oh, wait, it's the great equalizer. Ranged weapons. God created man, and Sam Colt made him equal.
Habeas corpus says that Brits put unnecessary U in words. Anus has a U in it. Coincidence? I think not. That's fantastic. That is all right.
Habeas, it is Pride Month. It wouldn't surprise me if yours has a somebody in it.
Okay, we're like.
Okay.
Let's get to some salt. Can we please get to some salt?
So let's get to some salt. And here's the salty cope from Vox. The Supreme Court's new gun ruling means virtually no gun regulation is safe.
Oh, so far, so good, Vox.
I'm pretty comfortable with that.
I feel like I'm supposed to look at that and feel like that's a bad thing, but instead...
Yeah, that's supposed to scare me, right?
No, dude. Not now. What are you doing? Oh, I see. Just... We're actually going to... See, now they can't see it, though. Uh-huh. Your terms are acceptable. And that's the thing, like, okay, sure, your term... Hey, while we're at it, maybe there's some other gun regulations we can get rid of.
Yeah, so...
Like, all of them?
This decision is not perfect. It's a good decision, but it's not a perfect decision. The Supreme Court had an opportunity here. This decision could have eliminated all of it.
Yeah, it's a thing that... I was just going to say it's a thing that, we give Alex over to TPS Report a hard time, but he talked about something last night on their show that we've also talked about here, that don't let them lie to you and say that it's constitutional carry. It's not. It's permitless carry, but it is not constitutional carry, okay?
Right.
Like, there are certain places you can't bring your firearm, and they all happen to be controlled by the government. Right? So don't let them lie to you. It's permitless carry. But as Chris says, we could have just went bam and just broke the whole thing in half. And we did not, because Chris's favorite justice made sure to point out that, certain gun control is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah. I said when Kavanaugh was in the process of his confirmation, and we were very aggressively critical of the attempted character assassination of Brett Kavanaugh, the obvious staged assault on his character, just over-the-top, ridiculous lies to try and assassinate this man's character and prevent him from being confirmed. I was very clear back then that innocent until proven guilty, these allegations should be adjudicated if anything else, and there's no evidence to support them, etc., etc. But I also pointed out at the time, and I have maintained, there are a few things, not least of which about Kavanaugh, least of which make me uncomfortable, is his continued insistence to virtue signal on the number of women.
I love women.
I'm all about women. I'm super pro women, and
got binders full of women.
Stop.
Oh wait,
Stop,
no, that wasn't Brett Kavanaugh, but
I will never hire you because of what color you are or how you're plumbed. I will look at the pictures you've taken, the videos you've made. Unless I'm putting you in a store to sell things to a certain clientele. I was going to say
Hooters waitress.
If I was to open
waitress.
if I was to open a pot store, all of the salespeople would be women between the ages of 22 and 27, and the uniform would be a tank top, a belt, and a joint. And we would retire one every single day on the profit margin, on cash flow alone. Alex points out eliminating the two-step framework for Second Amendment cases was the biggie. Vox isn't entirely wrong after that part ruling. I hope they're right. And yes, that's part of what we're getting at here. And, okay, check it out. So, the flash on my camera exploded the other day.
Okay.
And my truck exploded the other day.
Okay.
Which means I'm not going anywhere. Well, I could sit here and talk until you're ready to leave. Or you could walk, or we could do this. But we're coming up on time. I want to hit you with the thing that I was talking about. So let me get into this a little bit, and then I'm going to hit you with something. So, the Supreme Court's 6-3 decision in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin is a devastating decision for anyone who cares about reducing gun violence. False. You're lying, Vox. You're not mistaken. The data is there. Guaranteed. 100%. Increased gun laws equal increased gun violence. That is a 1-to-1 correlation. Guaranteed. Without exception. And the argument you're making here is about a New York state law that's being overturned. And the example you're going to point to is a Buffalo shooting, a mass shooting that happened in New York. Not one gun law saved one life. But the CDC data on the defensive use of guns almost guarantees that in the absence of your unconstitutional, rogue state bullshit gun laws, an armed citizen on the scene would likely have ended that before the shooter could fire another shot. You'd still have at least 2, if not 3 or 4 casualties, but that number could have been reduced dramatically.
Well, it's like what happened in that Texas church where there was the NRA instructor.
Yeah,
the
and
guy
you put one in the dome.
In the dome.
And we had a long conversation about why you never take the dome shot unless you've got people running around.
Unless you have no other choice. Yeah.
Yeah, you have no other choice. And if you can take that shot in the dome when you can't take the center mass shot, that's a hell of a shot.
Especially under stress and that kind of an environment.
Yep, it's hard to do.
But anyhow, the other thing is I see a world, okay, where what happened in Buffalo, even if you're wearing body armor and even if everybody turns on you and like starts plugging you with their 9mm and it goes thwack, thwack, thwack in your body armor, it's still like getting hit with a baseball bat over and over and over again. You're going to put the shooter down, right? They're just going to be a bruise from like collarbone to knees. And
right. And I want to hit this one last piece of this article real quick, and then I'm going to dig into something with you for as long as you're willing to stay on the air with me. The immediate impact of Bruin is that handguns, which are responsible for the overwhelming majority of gun murders in the United States. Oh, is that right, Fox? You can recognize that fact while you're talking about something other than a mass shooting that was...
Then why do you guys care so much
because
about the AR-15?
All they talk about is the AR-15.
The scary AR-15.
Are likely to proliferate on many American streets. That's because Bruin strikes down the types of laws that limit who can carry handguns in public, holding that the 2nd and 14th Amendments protect an individual's right to keep a handgun for self-defense outside the home.
No, it does not.
It doesn't hold this. It doesn't hold that the 14th Amendment does that. It holds that the 14th Amendment says equal protection under the law. A big part of the problem for the Constitution, separate from the Second Amendment, is that a law which says you have to prove to the state that you have a specified need to carry a gun is in direct contrast to the equal protection under the law. It means that the law in New York carves out a special class and provides provisional special privileges to somebody based on their category, and that is also unlawful. Now, they are correct that the repeal of these illegal laws will likely result in more people carrying handguns in public, and thank God for that.
Look, here's the thing, though. It's a lie. It strikes the types of laws that limit who can legally carry handguns in public. No, the hell it does not. If you're a convicted felon, you cannot carry a firearm. If you've been adjudicated crazy, you cannot carry a firearm. And in most states, if you're on probation, you can't carry a firearm. This decision doesn't change those facts at all.
Correct.
You liars. You lying liars.
Well, when they're saying...
Does Robert Reich work for you?
Right? And they're saying the quiet part out loud here, too. That's because Bruin strikes down the types of laws that limit who can carry handguns. That limit who can legally carry handguns. Limit who can carry handguns. Those words right there are criminal. It is illegal for those words to exist in a law. Here's the case that I want to make. We just had a bunch of Republicans sign on to a bullshit bipartisan gun control deal, right? And here's the case that I want to make, and this is the argument that I'm hoping you've got enough wit and sack to argue against, and we're gonna have fun with this. I charge that every signatory to this new gun bill, and by extension every gun law ever, is engaged as a criminal co-conspirator in the commission of the crime of conspiring to commit a crime. That crime is with malice of forethought, with willful malice of forethought, to commit a crime by writing a law whose effects are prohibited by the law. Every signatory to a gun law is guilty of the crime of being a co-conspirator to the commission of a crime. And that crime that they're conspiring to commit is to craft a law which is prohibited by law.
Okay.
That's it. That's the argument. They should be arrested, prosecuted as co-conspirators in the commission of a crime.
I'm not entirely sure what you want me to argue against.
You know what? I'm comfortable with this reaction. I was kind of hoping you'd tell me I'd gone too far, and force me to support the claim.
No,
but...
look. I mean, if we say politics is the art of the possible, yes, that goes too far. But if we're just gonna talk about like pure philosophy and the reality that you and I and most people understand to be actual reality, no, there's no reason to ever pass a gun law unless you want to take rights away from people. Period. Why would I argue against that?
All right, and Rebel Jack points out, and infringing the 2A is elected officials sworn to uphold it. Yes. So I wanted to cover the primary argument there, that they're engaged in a conspiracy to commit, right? And that's a thing. Conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy to commit fraud, conspiracy to defraud the American people.
Conspiracy to commit murder, you mean like the guy that conspired to kill Brett Kavanaugh? That's a weird one. We got to go back and touch that one later.
Yeah, because he was involved with some other people in making that happen.
Well, and he turned himself in and said, I'm crazy and I'm thinking about killing Brett Kavanaugh, and now he's charged with attempted murder. And I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be real dark here, but did he actually attempt to murder him?
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. He armed himself and traveled across the country to the location and then stopped. Look, I don't want to go too far down that, but there's the question you're asking is where do you draw where have you actually attempted the murder? And it's got to be it has to happen in the planning phase. If you've actually begun
do you understand
to fantasize about killing someone is one thing. To go out and take steps to prepare to do it, in particular,
dude,
that's a pretty hard line.
Look, I'm just going to say that there's a whole lot of people that went through some real bitter divorces that are guilty of attempted. I am not one of those people, okay? But I know people, friends of mine that are largely sane people, okay? But in the throes of their divorce, they talked about doing some wild shit. Because until you've got a spouse break you in half, you just don't understand how crazy that can make you. Like, look, I was not trying to. I really wasn't.
So, Rodemeyer says, if y'all are inclined, donate to the Firearms Policy Coalition. They're actively fighting court cases daily, while the NRA is refusing to fight.
Yeah, I love how the left keeps going, oh my God, we're beholden to the NRA, and it's like. Yes, we are. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you think we came up with a bump stock ban?
The NRA is largely like the NRA is like a Republican politician. the best you can hope for from them
Is that they
is
fail
some posturing,
slowly.
and that they will fail more slowly than a Democrat in the same position.
That's
the best you can hope for.
That's awesome.
We're all driving at the same wall, and Republicans just hit the gas not quite as hard. Democrats hit the gas hard.
Okay, so before you safety brief, remember, the Supreme Court's not done yet, y'all. And if a certain thing happens a certain way, like I said, whiskey and liberal tears, maybe 9 p.m. this evening?
If it happens, it'll be at 9.
Okay.
If it happens, it'll be at 9, and that's if we get the Supreme Court ruling on Roe. We'll have some whiskey and some we'll hit the salt mine, and hopefully we'll see y'all then. Until then, it is the weekend. Go out there, be safe. This is Firearms Friday, and we're talking about firearms stuff. We just talked about a Supreme Court case revolving around the Second Amendment. The best advice I can offer you to be safe is go the about girded for your own protection. Keep calm and carry one. And y'all, it's hot. Drink water.
Drink water. Your buddy.